wake up in the recovery room, and the doctor is hovering over my bed. He says, Mr. Gage, the operation was successful. We got out the bullet, and everything should be fine. So I'm really drugged up. I'm groggy. I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm grateful. I'm alive, right? For those of you guys who read my book, know I got shot in a robbery. And so they've been rushed. About 3 in the morning, I'm rushed to the emergency ICU. They do this surgery. So he tells me, everything's okay. We got the bullet out. And then he says, and while we were in there, we took out your appendix because we opened you up anyway. And, you could have appendicitis later, and then we'd have had to go back in. Well, even in my drug-addled state, I'm curious that how could this guy cut an organ out of my body and not even ask a perfectly good organ on the other side? Because I got shot over here, the appendix is over here, and I'm weak. So I can't really do. But so I get over it. Right? You get out of the hospital, have a lot of pain. They had cut all of the muscles in my stomach to open that up, and it hurt when I sit, it hurt when I stood, it hurt when I laid down. I could find no position I wasn't in pain. I got infected, I had to go back to the hospital, they had to resuture everything. About 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in church on a Sunday morning, I'm wearing a white shirt, I look down, I got blood covering my shirt, because the whole thing is opened up again, so all these problems. 2 years, I'm sick. 2 years I'm going through problems. 2 years I can't sleep. I keep waking up, and I go to, I got tested for AIDS. I got tested for malaria. I got tested for mono. I got, then they said, well, you've been to all these different countries. We're going to try, and we got the malaria and all the tropical diseases. So I say to my doctor, listen, I want you to do a check. I think they left a bullet inside me. Because it's like my body is trying to expel something. Because I have these night sweats all the time, and it's like toxins or something. And he said, Randy, come on, they're crazy at Jackson Memorial, but they're not that crazy. Save your money. So I go to the ENT special, I go to this special, the GI specialist. So I go to the GI specialist, and they say, we're going to, they make me drink the chalky stuff, and they do the whole thing of your intestines. So they're doing that, and when I've got the gown on, and the nurse says to me, so what's the big scar? And I said, I got shot in a robbery and gunshot wound there. Okay, great. So I do the whole thing. She comes back with the x-rays, and she says, I see they left the bullet inside you. Is that because it's located next to your spine? And I'm like, now it all makes sense. Because even after, when I was still in the hospital, the police who came to talk to me said, why wasn't the bullet in evidence? Because the doctors are supposed to save it and give it to the police. And I said, I don't know. Why are you asking me? Ask the doctor. Well, they had left it in, and the guy had told me that they took it out. Specifically told me they took out the bullet. But there was lodged in, and it was next to my spine. So, interesting thing, I'm wanting, so I scheduled another operation, a different doctor, had to pay him out of my own pocket to get this out and all that. And, but of course, I had personal injury attorneys lining up 10 deep. This is like my payday. This is the American dream, right? Find somebody to sue. That's how you get rich. Well, of course, during this time, I have discovered the laws of prosperity. I've become a student of prosperity. I started with the book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Todd. So I got all these lawyers lining up, wanting to help me sue this whole hospital, get $1 million. And I'm thinking about it, and I did what I always do, is I pick up a Bible or a self-development book or something, and I just open it up to a page and figure that's my lesson for the day. So I get Catherine's book, Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, open it up, and she's talking about forgiveness. And she specifically mentions lawsuits. And she says, how could you forgive somebody if you're suing them? So, just like that, there goes my $1 million settlement. So what do? I think about it, I meditate about it, I say, I was dying that night. Those doctors and nurses, they did the absolute best thing they could. and they saved my life. And you know what? Yeah, they took out their penance without asking me. They didn't take out the bullet, but you know what? They saved my life. I'm here to tell the story. So I've got to be grateful for that, and I've got to forgive them because they did the very best they could. So I wrote out a forgiveness affirmation 13 times because the mystics believe there's something spiritual about the number 13. Wrote it out 13 times, put it in my Bible, I prayed on it, forgive them, and you know what? That night was the first night in 2 years I slept perfectly throughout the night, didn't wake up, no sweats, no pain, nothing, even though I hadn't got the bullet out yet. It was literally, a few weeks later before I got the bullet out. But just doing that forgiveness, that was such a cleanser. And I very much believe in the forgiveness law of prosperity. And just remember this, your heart can only hold one dominant thought. If you have revenge in your heart, there's no room for love to get in there. So I want you to think about it. When people say that they're blocked in their prosperity, they haven't been able to manifest the kind of prosperity they're looking for, I always say, what are you holding on to that you need to be releasing? Because that's part of the vacuum law of prosperity. And check out that video on this site if you haven't seen that one. Bear in mind, we've got a plane going overhead, but I thought we were out here in South Florida. It's a beautiful day, and so I wanted to catch a little of the ambiance. But what are you holding on to that you should be releasing? And if you're holding on to being vengeful, being spiteful, being a victim, see, if you want to be a victim, you can't be a victim. So you have to forgive everybody who's ever done anything to you. And I will tell you this, I ask every seminar audience I ever speak, who's the hardest person in the world there is to forgive? And the answer is always the same, yourself. And I got to tell you, I've done more than anybody. I've probably had a harder time forgiving myself than any of you guys watching this video. But you know what? I had to do that, and you have to do that too. You have to. Forgive yourself, forgive the people around you, and allow the prosperity to manifest. That's your birthright. Please get down below, give me your comments on this, subscribe. I'll talk to you on the next video. Until then, live rich.